Today we celebrate Blessed Frederic Ozanam, a man convinced of the inestimable worth of each human being. Frederic served the poor of Paris well and drew others into serving the poor of the world. Through the St. Vincent de Paul Society, which he founded, his work continues to the present day. Frederic was the fifth of Jean and Marie Ozanam's 14 children, one of only 3 to reach adulthood. As a teenager, he began having doubts about his religion. Reading and prayer did not seem to help, but long, walking discussions with Father Noirot of the Lyon College clarified matters a great deal. Frederic wanted to study literature, although his father, a doctor, wanted him to become a lawyer. Frederic yielded to his father's wishes and, in 1831, arrived in Paris to study law at the University of the Sorbonne. When certain professors there mocked Catholic teachings in their lectures, Frederic defended the Church. A discussion club which Frederic organized sparked a turning point in his life. In this club, Catholics, atheists, and agnostics debated the issues of the day. Once, after Frederic spoke about Christianity's role in civilization, a club member said, "Let us be frank, Mr. Ozanam. Let us also be very particular. What do you do besides talk to prove the faith you claim is in you?" Frederic was stung by the question. He soon decided that his words needed a grounding in action. He and a friend began visiting Paris tenements and offering assistance as best they could. Soon a group dedicated to helping individuals in need under the patronage of St. Vincent de Paul formed around Frederic. Feeling that the Catholic faith needed an excellent speaker to explain its teachings, Frederic convinced the Archbishop of Paris to appoint Dominican Father Jean-Baptiste Lacordaire, the greatest preacher then in France, to preach a Lenten series in Notre Dame Cathedral. It was well attended and became an annual tradition in Paris. After Frederic earned his law degree at the Sorbonne, he taught law at the University of Lyon. He also earned a doctorate in literature. Soon after marrying Amélie Soulacroix, on June 23, 1841, he returned to the Sorbonne to teach literature. A well-respected lecturer, Frederic worked to bring out the best in each student. Meanwhile, the St. Vincent de Paul Society was growing throughout Europe. Paris alone counted 25 conferences. In 1846, Frederic, Amélie, and their daughter Marie went to Italy, where they hoped to restore his poor health. They returned the next year. The Revolution of 1848 left many Parisians in need of the services of the St. Vincent de Paul conferences. The unemployed numbered 275,000. The government asked Frederic and his co-workers to supervise the government aid to the poor. Vincentians throughout Europe came to the aid of Paris. Frederic then started a newspaper, The New Era, dedicated to securing justice for the poor and the working classes. Fellow Catholics were often unhappy with what Frederic wrote. Referring to the poor man as the nation's priest, Frederic said that the hunger and sweat of the poor formed a sacrifice that could redeem the people's humanity. In 1852, poor health again forced Frederic to return to Italy with his wife and daughter. He died on September 8, 1853. In his sermon at Frederic's funeral, Father Lacordaire described his friend as one of those privileged creatures who came direct from the hand of God, in whom God joins tenderness to genius in order to enkindle the world. Frederic was beatified in 1997. Since Frederic wrote an excellent book entitled Franciscan Poets of the 13th Century, and since his sense of the dignity of each poor person was so close to the thinking of St. Francis, it seemed appropriate to include him among Franciscan greats. Frederic Ozanam always respected the poor while offering whatever service he could. Each man Woman and child was too precious to live in poverty. Serving the poor taught Frederic something about God that he could not have learned elsewhere. Saint Frederic Ozanam, a blessed on his way to becoming a saint. So where does that leave you? Okay.